One cosmic abomination and advanced security system later, and I still haven't found that computer. Nice, Rex. You really have your work cut out for you. Oh, great. Another loony.
Fool! Who dares enter the sacred tomb of the Almighty One? State your business, or may you be forever crushed by the grace of the void.
I'm just here for the computer.
If it's power that you seek from the... Wait, I'm sorry?
I said I'm here for the computer. Some shoddy guy had it for sale. Said something about vintage tech.
Wait, you mean to tell me you trekked through the infested plains above and laid witness to unknown horrors beyond mortal understanding for a computer?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I think I found it.
But don't you desire something more? Surely you can't be obsessed with such an archaic piece of tech.
I'm sorry, you said something?
I said... Son! You can... Oh, bloody...
Huh?
Hey, did you guys remember to return the slab?
Okay, I am not into this one.
Well, there's only one way to find out.
Sand. Stabbing. Sand. Heels. Sand. Inaros. A casual's best friend. The Warframe equivalent of a stat stick. The turn your brain off and the... Wait, that one's half the roster. Okay, so originally I wanted to do a side-by-side comparison of old Inaros and new Inaros, but A, I have zero footage of pre-work Inaros, and B, that would be way too long. So if I do happen to reference his old kit, I'll just be using footage from his Warframe profile video. Yeah, remember these? Nowadays, we just get shown off what the new frames are in a dev stream that gets clipped by 30 people. I could be doing that. Maybe.
You know what? Father, we're done.
We're not done!
So what exactly does Inaros do? Well, aside from eating all of my smoothie kits at 3 a.m. and working at the burger joint in the mall to afford rent here,
I'll have 2 number 9s, a number 9 large, a number 6 with extra dip, a number 7, 2 number 45s, 1 with cheese, and a large soda.
Inaros is a melee focused character specializing in finisher damage and staying alive. Fun fact, Inaros is the first 3 Warframes, at the time of writing this, with 0 shields, not including primes for obvious reasons. What was once a really cool and unique playstyle of only having health and needing to use your abilities to stay topped off, ended up turning into a gimmick that was then repeated 2 more times and, in my opinion, done better since one has a health gate, kinda, and the other has friggin' overguard, and Inaros instead gets a second life, kinda. Do you hate dying and bleeding out, waiting for a revive? Do you not have the last gasp unlocked and usable on any focus school? Maybe you're one of those impatient. Fear not, as Inaros can simply walk out of his casket and run the ones with someone to regain his vitality and revive himself. Like Sevagoth, but kinda worse. Now on paper, it's a neat idea. Turning into a mummy and ripping the life force out of your victims is pretty cool and thematically appropriate. But sometimes it really feels like you're just slapping people with wet pool noodles more than anything. I mean, it isn't all that bad. You can still get revived by a player just simply going up to your casket and reviving you like normal. Now, despite what I said, the issue isn't even slapping around people with your little spaghetti arms. The actual issue with this passive is, like Sevagoth, it overrides Last Gasp. Now, why is this bad? 2 reasons. A, Last Gasp basically gives you a second bleed out timer, so if you activate it and don't get revived by a teammate or getting the 3 kills needed, you still have your normal bleed out timer for allies to revive you. And B, Last Gasp usually is just easier to actually proc with the red amp and of course motorized void strike ability. But if I had to pick, I'd rather have Inaros' passive. At the very least, you can hit multiple enemies per swing to pick yourself up faster, and you're also invulnerable to damage while it's active. For some reason, Sevagoth's Shadow has some janky ass hitboxes, so half the time I go right through enemies, making me wish I was shot out of the railjack instead of him. At the time of writing this also, I have just learned via the wiki that Inaros also heals himself off of finisher kills as another passive. 20% for his maximum HP. Totally didn't take me a good 9 years to learn that. I'm not mad.
What does a winner do when life gives him lemons?
Make lemonade?
No. He squeezes them right back into life's eyes!
Next, we have Inaros' bread and butter, desiccation, or how everyone else calls it, pocket sand. Why is this his bread and butter? Well, considering Inaros' designer on finishers, this allows him to do exactly that, and is making me reconsider subsuming his one off of one of my builds. We don't talk about that. Okay, so how does this ability work exactly? Easy. You press 1 and you throw sand. Simple enough, right? The sand itself does, simply put, fuck all for damage. However, the strength of this ability comes from the fact it opens enemies up to finishers. Hey, you see those? Go up to someone with them, and then you hit them with the Alcatraz Spork Shank. On its own, it's just okay. It's a lot of ways to pull off finishers on enemies, but as stated before, Inaros heals off of finishers. So aside from that, it doesn't do too much for him on its own, considering that his 2 also opens enemies up to finishers. But where this ability shines is the augment, Desiccation's Curse, which allows a Sand Cavat to be spawned upon landing a finisher, which allows for one really stupid build, but we'll get there eventually. Now, admittedly, Inaros' 2 and 3 aren't as interesting as his 1 and 4, so these won't be nearly as long. Sandstorm is Inaros' second ability, and it's a lot better than it was before. Nowadays, it's a decent grouping tool capable of dragging enemies where you want them to be, considering they drop at your feet once the ability expires, opening them up to ground finishers. Not only that, but you also gain invulnerability and heal based off the amount of enemies you got slurped up, which makes for a nice "oh shit" button. Pretty sure it's actually damage dealt.
Nope.
But the more enemies means the more damage, so either way, the more dudes you got, the more juice you get.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
Admittedly, if you're going to subsume an ability onto Inaros, then this is probably the slot you use. The iframes are nice, and with the augment, it does decent damage depending on your melee, but it's really a niche, to put it lightly.
Are you sure this will work?
I have no idea!
Next, the shortest paragraph of this whole script. Inaros' 3, Scarab Shell, grants Inaros armor and status immunity for sacrificing health. Taking a status effect will drain said armor, which can be restored at any point. It has an augment that's kinda meh.
What is that? What is that? What is it? Oh, no, not the beast! Not the beast! Ah! Oh, my eye!
Inaros' 4th, Scarab Swarm. If desiccation is Inaros' bread and butter, then Scarab Swarm is the bacon, egg, and cheese of this breakfast sandwich. Don't judge me, I was hungry at the time of writing this portion. Upon casting, Inaros inflicts a curse onto enemies. Said enemies are dealt corrosive damage with force procs for the duration of the ability, which is nice if you like green apple Jolly Ranchers. Upon the death of a cursed enemy, a swarm Kavat is spawned that will seek out and inflict the curse onto enemies it comes into contact with. So, if you're lucky, you don't even have to recast this ability. But those Kavats can do some silly things. For starters, the Kavats are summoned, meaning they proc Arcane Commissado for the 60% ability strength. So you can replace Molt Augmented or even stack them for 120% strength. Is it useful on the Inaros? Not really. But remember this augment? Yeah, let's talk about it. Desiccation's Curse. The augment of all time. Okay, so I know this isn't a Scarab Swarm augment, but it basically lets you put a Scarab Swarm on any frame. At least the Kavats. And the Kavats will still spread the curse, inflicting corrosive damage onto enemies, which allows for some silly synergies. So there's this really stupid build with Volt that allows them to have an army of Sandcat-shaped ICBMs that fly at enemies at Mach 20 with the blood of Thor coursing through their veins. There's other builds you could try too, considering the Kamisato interaction. But come on, this false one is just way too satisfying. And that's it really. Inaros is pretty cool. Nothing too amazing, but there's definitely worse you could be running. His melee synergy is really nice, but you're mainly going to be using him as a stat stick as a warframe, if that makes sense. He's better than he was before at least. His abilities actually do something now, and status immunity on base kit is really nice. But yeah, not really my thing, I guess. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed it, leave a like and sub, and don't worry, we'll be back in the future.
The test subject has been undergoing screening for the past 2 weeks. It seems that they have found a dimensional anchor, meaning that the results for Project REX are underway soon. I hope. The organization truly believes that by placing the subject within the simulation, we will be able to research the effects of interdimensional travel and exposure to the realms between our reality. If you ask me, I fail to see the logic in such practices. While our understanding of the realms between is limited, I can't be the only one believing that field tests best we could do now is sprinkle some of the corrupted data in a controlled environment and to, at the very least, make sense of what's happening. I will make updates when any substantial changes have been made to the subject. Perhaps we'll